Hello students, as in the previous video we discussed about atomic mass, molecular mass. Let us discuss molar mass. As we have discussed about the mole concept, in which we have discussed about the Avogadro number, and we have already discussed about molecular mass, formula mass, Avogadro number. Now let us discuss what is a molar mass, and this we can discuss on the basis of mole concept. What is a mole? As we have discussed in the previous video, that the amount of substance that contains the same number of atoms or molecule or particles as there are atoms in a 12 gram of C12 isotope. That means 1 mole is equal to 6.022 into 10 raised to the power 23. As I told you, one dozen means 12. Similarly, 1 mole represent a number, that is 6.022 into 10 raised to the power 23. And how we obtain this value? From finding out the number of atoms in C12 isotope, that is 12 gram of C12 isotope have this much number of atoms, that is given as 1 mole. So let us do a comparison. Mass of 1 dozen elephant, mass of 1 dozen books, mass of 1 dozen pen. If you find the mass, do you find that it will be equal? Definitely it will be not. So 1 dozen of elephant, 1 dozen of book and 1 dozen of pen. These are only relating with the term dozen. That means these all are equal in terms of number, that is 12. So 1 dozen elephant means 12 elephant. 1 dozen book means 12 book, and 1 dozen pen means 12 pen. That means they have only relation with they have only similarity with numbers. But when we compare the mass, it does not show any similarity. That means the mass of 1 dozen elephant is different from mass of 1 dozen book, and that is different from mass of 1 dozen pen. So what it shows that as dozen represent the number 12, similarly 1 mole represent a number. What is that number? That is an Avogadro number. And so if we compare the mass of 1 mole of gold, 1 mole of silver and 1 mole of copper. So will you find similar in the value? No, because the mass of each will be different. So they are only similar in terms of number, that is 1 mole of gold have 6.022 10 raised to the 23 number of atoms. Similarly, silver, in 1 mole of silver have 6.022 into 10 raised to the 23 number of silver atom. And similarly, so these are only show similarity in terms of number of atoms in it, but it does not have same mass. So it shows that the mass of 1 mole of different substance are not same value. So when we compare this chart, it is shows that the mass of 1 mole of sodium chloride is 58.5, and for the sulfur is 32 gram. For carbon it is 12 gram, mercury 200.6. These all values shows that the mass of 1 mole of substance is not same, but they are same in terms of number of particles. That is 6.022 raised to the power 23, but in terms of mass they are not same. So if we talk about a molecule, the mass of 1 mole of a molecule is equal to its molecular mass in terms of gram. If we talk about an atom like carbon, the mass of 1 mole of a carbon atom is equal to the atomic mass in terms of gram. So as we have discussed, the atomic mass for carbon 12. So if we are representing 12 gram, that means that is the mass of the 1 mole of carbon. It is not the mass of one carbon atom, but it is the mass of 1 mole of carbon atom. That means it is the mass of 6.022 10 raised to the power 23 number of carbon atom. So this chart shows that the mass of the 1 mole of different substance are not same. For example, take 1 mole of water, 1 mole of carbon dioxide, 1 mole of ammonia. We'll find that these show similarity in the terms of number of molecules present in them. That means 1 mole of water contains this much number of water molecule, and 1 mole of carbon dioxide contains this much number of molecule, and 1 mole of ammonia consists of the 6.022 into 10 raised to power 23 number of molecule. So 1 mole of any substance shows similarity in terms of numbers of particles in it, but they does not show similarity with respect to the mass, as we have discussed in the case of elephant, books and the case of pen. They are not similar in terms of mass. So when you find out the mass, that means the mass of 1 mole of a water molecule, that is equal to approximately 18 gram. And for carbon dioxide, approximately 44 gram. For ammonia, it is approximately 17 gram. So these are actually called as the molar mass. Molar mass is the mass of 1 mole of a substance. So let us define what is a molar mass. Molar mass, the mass of 1 mole of a substance in grams is called as its molar mass. So how we find a molar mass for a particular molecule? How you have find out the molecular mass, but their unit is taken in the form of U. Here you have to take the unit in the form of gram. That means when we represent a molar mass, we'll be representing with a unit gram per mole. For example, if I am writing a molar mass for water, molar mass of water, how we write that is 18 gram per mole. It means that its mass is 18 gram per mole, means 1 mole of a water molecule have 18 gram. So you can imagine that 18 gram is quite bigger value. So it doesn't means that 18 gram means the particular molecule of water is 18 gram. No, it is the mass of 6.022 10 raised to the 23 number of molecules of water. So from this we can get an idea that water is such a small molecule. So once again, what is molar mass? The mass of 1 mole of a substance in grams is called as its molar mass. For in the case of atoms, we will represent the atomic mass in terms of gram, and for in the case of molecules, we will represent the molecular mass in terms of gram per mole. Then we can say it is a molar mass. So let us find out the molar mass of ammonia, or we can say the mass of 1 mole of ammonia is equal to 17.04, or we can say approximately 17. In the case of molecular mass, that means the mass of one molecule, we have used the unit U or AMU. Here we are using a value gram per mole. That means 1 mole of ammonia consists of 17.04 grams. Similarly, 1 mole of water, its mass is 18.02 gram. That means unit is gram per mole. So how we represent the unit in the case of molar mass? It is gram per mole. The relationship of a mole with volume, particles and mass is illustrated as shown here. As we have discussed that 1 mole of any substance is equal to 6.022 into 10 raised to power 23 number of particles, as we have discussed. Let us discuss in terms of mass once again. So the mass of 1 mole of an atom, we are considering the particle as atom. So mass of 1 mole of an atom is equal to its atomic mass in terms of atomic mass in terms of gram. That means the mass of 1 mole of hydrogen is 1 gram. But when we talk about molecule, then 1 mole, the mass of 1 mole of a molecule is equal to molecular mass in terms of gram. That is gram per mole. Example, mass of 1 mole of water molecule is equal to 18 gram per mole. And in terms of formula, we can say the mass of 1 mole of a formula is equal to its formula mass in terms of gram per mole. So like this we can find there is an gram atomic mass, gram molecular mass and gram formula mass. So when we are talking about 1 mole of an atom, we'll be discussing the atomic mass in gram. That is gram atomic mass. And when we are saying 1 mole of a molecule, its mass is called as a gram molecular mass. And the mass of 1 mole of a formula is represent the formula mass of a substance in terms of gram per mole. But in terms of volume, we can say that for the gases, 1 mole of any gas at standard temperature and pressure, that it shows the volume, that is 22.4 liter of gas. That means 1 mole of a gas like hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen or any gas, it have 22.4 liter. It gives 22.4 liter volume, and it is only in terms of at the standard temperature and pressure. So from this illustration we have discussed number of particles, gram atomic mass, gram molecular mass, gram formula mass and in terms of volume. So these all have relationship with mole. From this we come up with the idea about the unit which we are using. If we are finding out the mass of 1 mole of any substance, either atoms, particles like ions, in that case we are using a unit that is gram per mole. That means this unit is used when we are finding out the mass for 1 mole of any substance. But when we are finding out the mass of 1 atom, 1 molecule, at the time we'll be using a unit that is unified mass or AMU. The magnitude value, the numerical value is same here. The only difference is in the case of their unit. So the atomic mass of hydrogen is 1 U, but the gram atomic mass, or we can say the mass of 1 mole of hydrogen atom is equal to, that is 1 gram per mole. That means 1 mole have 6.022 into 10 raised to 123 number of particle and its mass is 1 gram. So this is all we have discussed about the mole concept, its relation with the mass, that is molar mass. So molar mass is the mass of 1 mole of any substance. So problems will be discussed in the next video. Thank you everyone.